Welcome into another edition of Sports Junkies. Time to do a little pack of talk. I'm Sparky Fifer from 105.7 FM The Fan, AM 1250 in Milwaukee. Co-host of the Wendy's Big Show, weekday afternoons from 2 to 6. The Packer Hall of Famer Leroy Butler, former Packer and Badger running back Gary Ellerson, and Ronnie Mackloff, our stand-up comedian on the show. And he, of course, is Gery Woelfel, the stand-up comedian here on Sports Junkies, also columnist for the paper.
Nice segue. That's why you're paid the big bucks.
Yeah.
There we go.
The Green Bay Packers. Everything's fixed. The world is right again. They beat the Cowboys.
Okay, anything else?
No. Talk to you next time. Oh, we got to talk more?
Yeah, no. I mean, the Cowboys are a decent team. I mean, that was their Super Bowl.
Defensively, yes.
Yeah.
Offensively, without Romo, no.
I mean, the Packers are gaining that, quote, big mo right now. I mean, they're starting to get their act together. Now, whether it carries over the rest of the season, who knows? But if you're going to peak, this is certainly the right time to peak.
Time out.
You don't
carrying their mo. They got a lucky Hail Mary play, and that was totally lucky.
I agree.
Okay.
Totally.
So, lucky. Now you solidly beat the Cowboys. I'll give you that. You solidly beat the Cowboys. Now, having said that.
They dismantled them.
Okay.
It was now close.
Having said that.
Yes.
Will they continue to run the football with Lacey and Starks the way they did in that game? Or is it going to be, well, the conditions are better in Oakland this week. It's sunny and beautiful, so Aaron, throw 50 times. I mean, that's what I want to see. Are you going to consistently run the football or not? Because if you're not going to consistently run the football, Gary, then it doesn't really matter at the end of the day if he's got to throw the ball 50 times again, because that's what we saw earlier in the year, and those wide receivers obviously can't get themselves open. So now if you add in play-action pass because of the running game, now you give those receivers a chance.
I think people are all hell-bent on, well, we got to run the ball so many times, we got to run or throw the ball so many times.
Josh Siddon has said it all year long. Lacey should get 20 carries a game.
See, that's stupid. I think you adjust to the defenses that you play. If it's a porous run defense, you run the ball. If they got a horrendous pass coverage team, you pass the ball. And the Packers are now in the position where they could do either one. And I think that's the staple of a really good team.
Now, I don't know what happened this last week against the Cardinals when the Vikings lost that game. But going into that game, I believe, the Cardinals had not lost the game this year when Adrian Peterson had 20 or more carries in a game.
Okay.
Had not lost. So that obviously tells you there's something to that theory.
But can you run a guy 20 times every Sunday? He's going to get burnt out so quickly.
Yes, I think you can.
Oh, no. Look at longevity of running backs. They don't even get to 29 anymore.
But wait a second.
They're so beat up.
What's your job as head coach? Is your job as head coach... No, hold on a second. I'm being serious. Is my job as head coach to make sure that Eddie Lacy plays in the league for 10 years? Or is my job as head coach to figure out how I'm going to win a Super Bowl on that specific year?
But
what's my job?
If you're a running back, you don't want to play in that system. Then
yes, he does. Eddie Lacy, I promise you, does not want to be in an offense where he gets 6 touches a game.
Do you remember John Brockington?
It's not even... What's the point of being on the team if you're not going to... It was Brockington and Lane.
Yes.
They were nice compliments to each other.
Yeah, absolutely. To me, that was the best backfield.
I don't disagree.
My point, though, is they relied on Brockington so much that within 3 to 4 years, he was done.
Was he a beast when he played?
Absolutely.
Okay, that's what Eddie Lacy can be.
But so you want to burn him out in 4 years?
Well, he's not going to be with the Packers anyhow then.
Why?
Because then he's a free agent and he can go play somewhere else.
Oh, they'll retain him.
No, but hold on a second.
Yeah.
You got to say my point. If I'm McCarthy and Ted Thompson, I don't care about Eddie Lacy in 4 years. All I care about right now is how am I going to get to the playoffs and win the Super Bowl? Because when the year started, we were pretty much the team to beat in the NFC. Right? Mm-hmm. After the Seahawks realized they're not the Seahawks anymore, they might be, though, after the last 3 or 4 weeks. But after they stumbled, they were the team, right? Then all of a sudden you get on a horrible roll, and now you look at it and go, can they beat Arizona? Can they beat Seattle? Can they beat the Vikings? Who can they beat once they get into the postseason?
But flipping that, you can say, hey, can Seattle beat Green Bay? Can Arizona beat Green Bay? You know, people from that perspective are saying, Gary, you know the team everybody's worried about right
Arizona is rolling. Seattle may be the hottest offense right now in the National Football League.
I agree.
Wilson threw, 5 touchdowns last week?
And you
without
laughed,
Jimmy Graham? Without Marshawn Lynch?
And you laughed when I said 2 years ago he's going to be a Hall of Famer.
Who?
Wilson. He's going to be a Hall of Famer.
He needs another ring for sure.
Oh,
he has to get one. Yes, he does.
I mean, the number.
He can't get in with just one ring. He's going to need another one because he's not going to have the numbers as Breeze, Brady, Roethlisberger, Rodgers.
His pass rating will be such that they know he was a great quarterback.
It's funny you bring this up, and now we're getting sidetracked.
Yeah.
Mike Pettit of the Cleveland Browns just brought this up today,
right.
that Russell Wilson is not in the top tier of quarterbacks in the NFL. He's in that next tier.
Well, what's his top tier?
I just told you what it was. It's Brady, Breeze, Rodgers, Roethlisberger. And then after that top tier, he's in the second tier quarterback. So if you're going to be a Hall of Famer in the second tier of your generation, then you have to have multiple rings.
But he's starting his career. He's only in, what, his fourth year?
Fifth year, something like
right.
that.
So, I mean, he's only starting his career. He's got plenty of time.
We're going to have to wait and see.
He's going to be a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
I'll stand by that.
Well, if Darrell Bevel gets a head coaching job, then he's going to have to adjust to a new coordinator. So far, he's had the same guy since he got to Seattle.
Right,
and that's
right.
a huge benefit. I mean, Rodgers has had McCarthy the whole time. You look at a guy like Alex Smith in San Francisco, he was going through a different offensive coordinator every year.
But if Pete Carroll's there, that system won't change much.
You don't think so?
No, not really.
Because that looks to me like the Badgers offense. That doesn't look like a USC offense. That looks like Darrell Bevel and the Badgers offense back when Barry was there.
The other thing, too, is he is so smart. It doesn't matter what system
he is.
He's a break guy.
Yep.
He'll adjust anything.
Packers, Oakland this week. Taking Packers in Oakland?
Yeah, blowout time.
Do you think the Packers made a mistake letting Charles Woodson go? Charles Woodson said he would have came back for less money, and they didn't want him.
You know what?
Because he wanted to finish his career in Green Bay.
The most offensive thing about the Charles Woodson situation was he had a great time in Green Bay.
And he wanted to stay.
He wanted to stay, and Thompson and the hierarchy didn't even have the courtesy to say, hey, would you like to come back? Well, let's work this out. They didn't even offer him the chance to come back. And for a player of that caliber, I think that's a cardinal sin.
He's got, 5 picks this year already for the Raiders. He's having a really good year for the Oakland Raiders.
He was leading the league at one point midway through the season.
And Sam Shields credits Woodson for a lot of what he does, especially his work now that he does. Did you realize this? I don't know if you saw this the other day. Shields runs every day after practice, does 100-yard sprints.
There you go.
Then runs stairs in the stadium.
And
does all this. Woodson taught him how to do that to keep his speed later on in his career. And Joe Witt, I think it was, says what a lot of players didn't realize on that team was that Al Harris and Charles Woodson would come back at night and do all their running when nobody else was there. And people had no idea that was going on. But that's how they did it. And Woodson, apparently, according to Sam Shields, attributes that to him being able to keep his speed and be able to play for a long time.
And I'm a huge Charles Woodson fan. But at the same time, this has actually worked out well for the Packers. Their two safeties are young and they're good, and they're going to be around here for a long time.
Well, you could have used Charles Woodson last year.
Perhaps, but you remember
2 years ago. Actually, 2 years ago. Last year,
there were a lot of people down Charles Woodson in his last year in Green Bay. They were saying he had slowed down.
I know, but how nice would it have been to have Woodson be the mentor for Hockland and Dix? Wouldn't that have been nice?
Yeah, I agree.
That would have been nice.
But again,
or for Demarius Randall, or for Jimmy Rollins, he could have essentially been an assistant coach on the field for the entire second.
But didn't Thompson and company owe it to Woodson to say, hey, what do we need to do?
Agreed.
Or explain the situation, say, hey, we're doing this. But apparently there was no contact at all.
Charles Woodson will always be one of the most beloved Packers by fans.
Oh, no doubt about
Always will be. You're taking the Packers this week over the Raiders?
A blowout.
A blowout?
Blowout, yeah.
He is Gery Woelfel. I'm Steve.
What about yourself?
I say Packers by 10.
Okay, almost a blowout.
I'll say Packers by 10. Derek Carr hasn't been playing nearly as well. My thing is, if Shields doesn't play, I want to see that Amari Cooper matchup against Demarius Randall. Let's see how that works.
He might be the best young receiver in football. He is special.
But you're right. So we'll see what happens. He's Gery Woelfel. I'm Steve Sparky Fifer. Talk to you next time here on Sports Junkies at RacineSportsZone.com.